All my screens went red at once, every graph screaming, every alert stacking over the last system breach. All data corrupted. We were hours from an $11.8 billion merger and apex Meridian Systems. My life's work was melting on the glass in front of me. You know that feeling when noise turns into a tone, and the tone is fear. I heard light footsteps in the quiet, steady and unhurried. A cart with one wheel that squeaked every few rotations. The night cleaner stopped at my door, tapped the glass, and asked if I needed water. I almost said no, because pride is loud when it's useless. Then she looked past me at the error codes and said, "Calm as a mechanic who knows your car better than you do. If your email gateway is still. Peregrine Forks, the payload is stitched. Do you have anything cold? Something that never touches the main net." That's how I met Tessa Monroe. The woman paid to empty my trash, who used to run threat response at Redwood Dynamics, the woman who asked to touch my keyboard, like a surgeon asking for a scalpel. I handed her my badge, because policy didn't matter anymore. We took the elevator to sub-level C, where the air smells like oil and stubbornness behind 4 doors, and a cage sat a tape library. We never decommissioned because hauling it away cost more than ignoring it. "Cold systems don't get fevers," she said, laptop open. Cables everywhere, eyes on logs that looked like static to me. Footsteps behind us. My CFO, Victor, arrived with 2 security guys. He calls his shadow full. "Liability," he snapped. "We cannot let a contractor into the cabinet, my CTO." Miles rolled in. Tie, crooked like rebellion on sale. "We're really trusting a cleaner over our team." Tessa didn't raise her voice. "No. You're trusting time. Every minute. You argue is a minute your stock bleeds tonight. I am the broom. I looked at the men who liked policies more than problems, and said the 2 words they hate most, sit down. 2 hours felt like 10 minutes, and 10 years. Tessa traced the breach like a hunter reading river silt a fish, to a VP who forwards everything 26 days of mapping a coordinated detonation. They assumed our backups were hot and loud. They never found the vault that slept in the dark. She scripted restores, like apologies. Exact, unshowy, beautiful. The spinner groaned, awake. Hashes matched ledgers, rehydrated, secrets, rekeyed at 4 a.m. She paused, ready to light the mainboard. I said, "Do it." She pressed enter. Across the wall, upstairs. Our systems blinked from black to green in 3 long heartbeats. The halt lifted. The ticker snapped back. And in those 3 seconds, we clawed back. 2.1 billion in market cap. I hadn't realized I'd been holding my breath until I heard what it sounded like to breathe again. Miles said it wouldn't hold. Of course they'd hit again. Tessa nodded. Because competence doesn't sell fairy tales. They will. And they left fingerprints. She walked us through a trail that routed through 4 countries, and a Nevada co-op registered to a shell called Gray Orchard. Logistics, lazy paper. Leaves veins, she packaged evidence for a federal liaison. Whose number lived in her muscles, Victor tried to slam the brakes again. Board approval, he warned. I looked at the screens that were green because she was brave, and at the man who loved approvals more than outcomes correction. We already did. Sunrise brought people expecting a funeral. Instead, they found a resurrection. The board took their seats ready to manage a crisis. I stood beside the cleaner who rebuilt their inheritance and said her name like an introduction and a promise. This is Tessa Monroe. She didn't posture. She showed work before and after Hokiet flow. See, cut in half, privilege, boundaries. Redrawn honeypots. Seeded drills. Automated. We can't guarantee safety, she said. We can practice it. Systems that listen and adapt. Beat systems that brag. Board chair. Eleanor asked 3 sharp questions and got 3 sharper answers. Then Victor came in. Hot, the kind of hot that smells like fear, dressed as prudence. Are we risking a multi-billion-dollar merger on a janitor's midnight hobby? The room went quiet, the way rooms do when class and truth bump shoulders. Tessa met his eyes. I asked for 8 hours in access. I got an hour and took the other because we were bleeding. If you want my resume, it's on your desk. The part Redwood couldn't teach me. I learned mopping floors, patience, repetition, humility. The 3 things that actually stop breaches. Eleanor smiled like someone who finally found the adult in the room. Then she looked at me. I had a history of hedging, not this time, effective immediately. Chief Information Security Officer. Hiring authority mandate to tell me no when I deserve it. $750 base performance bonus, 4%. Equity, Victor choked on his own air. I kept talking. We owe more than a thank you. Tessa looked stunned for 1 beat, then steady again. I'll take the title and team cut the base to 500 and push the rest to a scholarship on the West Side. Name it for my mom, Ruth. She cleaned offices by day and taught me algebra at our kitchen table. I felt something reset in my chest, done today. 3 weeks later, she ran a room full of engineers like a teacher who knows you're smarter than your worst habit. Navy blazer hair, tucked back, clear. Voice, overconfidence is the enemy. We only win if we enjoy being wrong. For the 5 minutes it takes to become right, she spoke to interns and architects like both were worth a sturdy explanation. I gave her a key fob and an envelope. Freedom, I said. No ceiling on. What you need to protect our people and a place to rest. The kind of mind that never stops. She laughed like I'd been caught paying attention, then the second probe hit. Of course it did. The office was a pool of blue light and quiet. Her team had gone home with instructions to sleep with a clear conscience. She stayed because she loves late math. I stayed because I love how she turns noise into pattern. Coffee, console, glow stories about her mom, who worked 3 jobs and told jokes that took the long road. I told her how I traded a machinist's tape for applause, because applause is cheaper than love and easier to schedule. You know what I mean? I asked. She nodded, yeah. That happened. I used to think love was a clean equation. Then I learned it's debugging under pressure. You get it wrong a lot until you don't. I looked at her, at the person who wanted nothing from me but honesty, Tessa. I think about you first and last, and most of the middle. She took my hand. And didn't make a speech. I know me too. I proposed the way you propose. When you finally learn what listening is not, fireworks over the lake, not a jet, a brick campus on the West Side with new paint and stubborn hope. The Ruth Monroe Fellowship Center on the door. Classrooms with computers. A makerspace that smells like cedar stipends, so students don't have to pick between rent and a future partner's ready to hire the neighborhood owns it. We just turned on the lights. She covered her mouth like her heart fell forward. I pulled the ring simple and beautiful. 6 months ago, I thought winning meant being the last man standing on a roof. I built for one. You taught me. It's how many people you lift. Marry me, build this with me. She laughed and cried. Yes, no pause. Just yes. Then the twist. The federal liaison called with a voice that had both good news and a headache. We followed your breadcrumbs. It wasn't just outside actors. Someone inside lit the match. The file was neat and ugly, a subcontractor hidden in a sleepy subsidiary. Nephew to a man with a corner office and a leash. Word called loyalty. The board meeting that followed was a movie that needed better heroes. Victor wanted it quiet. The street hates drama. Tessa stood, not angry. Clear. Transparency is not drama. It's the first brick of trust. If we want clients to believe us, we show them what we do. When one of our own sells keys to thieves. Eleanor looked at me. Old instincts tried to bargain with truth. Then I looked at the woman who rebuilt our house and asked me to stop hiding in it. We published the report, went live at noon on a Wednesday. Stock dipped, then steadied, then grew because sometimes markets remember they're made of people who are tired of being lied to. The merger partner called. You made our week harder and our risk easier. We kept talking without begging. That felt like a bigger number than any we'd written on a whiteboard. We married in the courtyard outside the fellowship center because vows sound better. Where kids laugh down the hall. She took my last name on insurance forms and kept her own on her badge. Because identity can hold more than one truth that night. The building across the street lit up window by window, like a slow applause. For once, I didn't wonder who it was for. I don't have a neat moral. I have a cleaner who saw a man drowning and reached. I have a company that remembered. Old machines can protect new dreams. When you keep them honest. I have leaders who learned that humility isn't a press release, and I have a question that will not sit still. When power breaks, what does justice look like? Is it mercy for a kid who sold the match if he turns witness? Or is it handcuffs, because some doors have to slam or the hallway never gets safer? Was Victor wrong to shield the merger if it kept thousands employed? Or does the truth get to be inconvenient, even when pensions hang in the balance? If you were in my chair and the person you loved asked you to tell the whole story, not the safe version, would you? Should we forgive the hands that held the lighter? If they learn to hold the extinguisher? Or do we ask for ash before we believe in new growth? Tell me what you think. Drop the real take, not the polite one. Who was right? Who was wrong? What did I miss? If you've seen a version of this play out in your life, a worker overlooked until the night the sirens called their name, tell that story too. And if you want more turnarounds with a pulse, more rooms that stop hiding, hit subscribe, leave a comment, share it with someone who thinks the smartest person on the floor sits in the biggest chair, when sometimes they're just holding the mop and the master key at the same time.